Leadership ultimately comes down to creating conditions of trust within an organization.
That earning the trust and respect of your subordinates is critical. Because when it's all over and done with, you're not going to win any fights as a leader. Your troops are going to win those fights.
You must be able to motivate the people around you in order to achieve the goals which you set out to achieve.
It doesn't get any better than that someone who says, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to take the onus is on me to establish a nonprofit like the Cost of Freedom. And I'm going to take action, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change people's lives. That's what a leader does.
No commander has portrayed the concept, leading from the front, more literally than a young colonel named George Washington that volunteered in 1775 to take charge of our fledgling Continental Army. Amid barrages of bullets and cannon fire, Washington had been known to ride his white horse, saber drawn, galloping into battle in front of his troops. And under the most trying conditions, Washington remained with his soldiers while at their winter encampment at Valley Forge. Leading from the front secured our independence.
George Washington was a great leader. He was a man of exemplary character. He believed in and loved his men and placed their welfare ahead of his own, and you could see it in their loyalty to him.
Leading from the front secured our independence. During World War II, U.S. forces had a leader named George Patton, hailed as America's fightingest general as a result of his unusual antics, strategic mind, and being amid his troops during times of peril. Patton physically and mentally led from the front and was both revered and feared by those that served under him.
This man carried pistols with ivory handles to boot. His men respected and loved him. He was passionate about everything he did, including wanting to win the big war.
We had taken quite a beating in Kasserine Pass in North Africa, and I truly beaten, and that's when General Patton came in as Third Army, and from that point on, we were pretty damn successful. And I thought every one of his moves were good. Of course, I was just a PFC. Who am I? But that's how I felt. History is very important because I had a chance to go to Officers Candidate School, and I didn't realize that you have to read. And Patton brings that up in the movie Patton.
Amo, you magnificent bastard, I read your book!
And that's a true story, that he read his book. In the movie, he did say, "You bastard, I read your book." Because I was there. We beat the hell out of him.
Vietnam brought a new type of war to the forefront, and with it, a new type of leadership.
Ended up going over to Vietnam in 1970, 69-70, and I was an E5 in the infantry. I spent a year in the jungles. Luckily, I got through it. Tried to take care of men. Sometimes I ended up being the leader of if it wasn't a squad, it could be a platoon, and at one time a whole company, because we ran into some bad stuff, and we lost our commanding officer and a couple of different guys, and so I had to take over for a couple of days, which wasn't fun, but it showed me the responsibilities of what you have to do to keep all the men together and safe as you can be. And it wasn't as if you had a leadership situation there. It was more a team. The more you could work as a team, the better and safer you were. And so that's what we did.
General Powell was a professional soldier for 35 years, rising to the rank of 4-star general and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Later, he served as our 65th Secretary of State. As a military strategist, his approach to military conflicts was to maximize the potential for success and minimize casualties. During Operation Desert Storm in 1991, in which I participated, his approach utilized overwhelming force, commonly called the Powell Doctrine.
Anytime a true crisis arrives and people must pick the leader from their peers, they always pick their leader based upon the character of their leader.
Schwarzkopf was a great general. He understood why military leadership is so demanding. We are asking people to do some things that they instinctively would not do, including risking their own lives. And we ask them to do it willingly.
Today, leading from the front takes on a different connotation, much as each war we've faced required the utilization of different military strategies. Leading from the front does not require one to be physically put in harm's way, and great leaders are not born that way. They're made. Leadership is learned, grown, and developed through harvesting lessons we learned from our predecessors.
And then the battalion got a new commander. His name was Colonel Bowlby. I'll never forget the guy. He had a battalion formation, and he said, "Okay, gentlemen, we're going to change a few things here because I need to prepare you for what you may have to do in the future. You have to have unit cohesion. You have to be physically fit. So every morning, we're going to do a 10-kilometer run, and I will lead you." I said, "All right." So we had the whole battalion, every morning, this was 4 days a week they did it, would do a 10-kilometer run before you went off to your duty. And I said, well, that's a pretty savvy thing to do. But the effect of it was long-lasting. It created a cohesion in the unit. It made people feel a sense of pride in being airborne again and doing something worthwhile before you even started your day. And to me, that was a pretty impressive thing for a man who didn't have to do that at all, that he did.
Truth of the matter is, a team leader, a good team leader does two things only. He completes his mission and he takes care of his people in that order. That's the bottom line. That's the way it works. And taking care of your people is simply every decision you make is in your teammates' best interest. That's it. It's that simple. True leaders, rise to the top. They don't need to let you know that they're the leader, that they're wearing the team captain on their jersey, or, they don't have to boast about it.
And one day, my father left a little note on my desk, and it said, "Live for today. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow may never come." And that helped me. That helped me tremendously. And I only thought about today.
Leading from the front means there is something today worth leaving behind for the generations to come. Listen as our veterans share their legacy.
Somebody has to walk point. So I did that. But I felt comfortable doing that because I was always looking for everything, branches being broken, movement on the trail, anything, and tripwires. And I always felt safe when we were doing that. I don't know if that's leading from the front. That's just kind of common sense going up and saying, hey, we're going to be safe if I do it. If somebody else does it, maybe not so much.
When the war was about to begin, there was actual projections about how many people would die, how many people would die if they were going to use nerve agents, and it was scary. You know, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3 personnel were going to take casualties in terms of death during the attack. But the reason that Pagonis was a good leader, he said that despite what we're going to face, we are better trained, we are better both mentally and physically, and that we'll be able to withstand whatever attacks they have, and that we'll be able to be successful in battle.
So I think that your actions, are you physically fit? Do you seek to make yourself a better leader? Are you educating yourself? Are you doing these things that make you a better person? And then you set up your troops for success and not failure. You show them, this is the best way I know how to do this. And it gives them an example maybe to look at and to strive for. They have to see something positive. They also have to know that you care. Soldiers don't care what you know until they know that you care. You can speak all kinds of wisdom, but until they know that you care about them, they're not going to listen to your words.
From what I've been told, I'm the first double amputee to become a police officer in the United States, and I've done a lot of research and I found other guys to be single below the knees or guys who got hurt on the job. But recently in the past year, I've had 2 of my fellow colleagues who were in the Marine Corps with me reach out to me and say, hey man, I think I can do it. I can be a police officer, and I have you to thank for setting the example and from leading from the front, you know, to never give up, you know, to never stop following your dreams, and to keep pushing forward. So I always tell the guys, listen, if I could do it, you can do it. It's just really putting your mind to it.
That's one thing the service teaches you. Don't give up.
Historical narratives offer us stories of courage, leadership, and wisdom. Washington, Patton, Schwarzkopf, Powell. Many veterans have been exposed to an adverse environment that taught them about honor, sacrifice, loyalty, and duty. Albarella, Ferreira, Reynolds, Wojcik, Kavanaugh. Latham, Evans, and others. It is now up to all of us to learn from our past so that we can carry that torch forward to the generations to come, so it can someday be said, well done, thy good and faithful servant.
I just want to say thank you to every person who's ever put the uniform on, no matter what branch or service or what era. To me, a veteran is a veteran, whether you served 1 year or 10 years or 27 years. It doesn't matter whether you were in combat or that you weren't. We needed everybody to do their job. And I also want to say thank you to the family members who stood by their veteran while they performed these difficult duties, being far away, missing lots of important dates. It takes a family to make a veteran, to make a serviceman successful. So I just want to say thank you to both the veteran and their families.